In the sweltering summer of 1456, the fate of Europe teetered on the edge. At Belgrade, 300 knights and a ragtag militia stood between the mighty Ottoman Empire and the heart of Christendom. What followed would become one of history's most unlikely victories, a battle that changed Europe forever. Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, had forged the Ottoman army into a war machine. With elite Janissaries and cutting-edge artillery, his sights were set on Belgrade, a strategic fortress guarding Europe's interior. For the people of Belgrade, surrender was not an option. Resistance meant survival, defeat meant annihilation. While the Ottoman forces advanced, Europe remained divided. Political rivalries, religious disputes, and mistrust among kingdoms left the continent vulnerable. Only Hungary, under the leadership of John Hunyadi, took decisive action to halt Mehmed's march. Belgrade, perched at the meeting of two rivers, was Europe's last line of defense. Its thick medieval walls offered strength, but the garrison was woefully undermanned. With only 700 trained soldiers, supplies dwindling, and morale low, the city seemed destined to fall. Enter John Hunyadi, a seasoned general with a reputation for outsmarting larger armies, and John of Capistrano, a Franciscan friar who ignited religious zeal. Together, they united professional soldiers with an untrained peasant militia, forging an unlikely but determined defense. Hunyadi's strategy was as unconventional as it was bold. Knights dismounted to fight alongside civilians, training them in the use of makeshift weapons and medieval incendiaries. Meanwhile, guerrilla raiding parties harassed Ottoman supply lines, keeping the enemy off balance. On the rivers, the defenders launched an unexpected assault. Serbian fishing boats, turned into an improvised navy, struck Ottoman artillery positions from the water. This daring attack crippled key cannons and disrupted Mehmed's siege operations. As night fell, Hunyadi's raiders struck again. Using the cover of darkness, they dismantled Ottoman cannons and spread panic in the enemy camp. For the first time, Mehmed's army tasted fear, its aura of invincibility shattered. The final battle began with a feigned retreat, luring the Ottomans into Belgrade's narrow streets. There, the defenders turned the city into a deadly trap, unleashing ambushes that decimated enemy ranks. With morale high and unity unshaken, the defenders prepared for one last push. Seizing the moment, Hunyadi ordered the gates to open. Knights and militia charged as one, smashing through Ottoman lines and triggering a chaotic retreat. Belgrade had held, and with it, Europe was saved. The Battle of Belgrade was more than a victory. It was a turning point. Sultan Mehmed's westward ambitions were thwarted, and Europe was granted decades of reprieve. To this day, the battle stands as a testament to the power of unity, ingenuity, and unwavering resolve. This was the battle that changed Europe, a lesson in resilience, an ode to courage, and a reminder that even the smallest force can defy the mightiest foe. The impact of the Battle of Belgrade resonated far beyond its immediate aftermath. For Sultan Mehmed II, the defeat was a bitter setback. His army, the pride of the Ottoman Empire, had been humbled by a force that was not only smaller but also made up of untrained civilians and religious zealots. This battle shattered the myth of Ottoman invincibility, showing that disciplined strategy and unity could triumph over sheer numbers and advanced weaponry. For Europe, the victory was nothing short of miraculous. Belgrade became a symbol of defiance and resilience, earning the title Shield of Christendom. The news of the victory spread rapidly, inspiring hope in regions that had long felt vulnerable to Ottoman expansion. Church bells rang across Europe, and Pope Calixtus III declared a day of thanksgiving, a tradition that continues today as the noontime ringing of church bells. The battle also left a profound legacy in military strategy. Hunyadi's tactics, blending guerrilla warfare, psychological disruption, and coordinated counterattacks, were studied and adapted by military leaders for centuries. His ability to inspire unity among disparate groups laid the groundwork for modern concepts of coalition warfare. Belgrade itself became a model for urban defense. Its combination of fortified positions, strategic location, and innovative tactics during the siege influenced the construction and defense strategies of cities across Europe. Engineers and military architects sought to replicate the fortress's effectiveness, knowing it had withstood the might of the Ottomans. But perhaps the greatest legacy of the battle was its lesson in human spirit. The defenders of Belgrade were not just knights and soldiers. They were bakers, farmers, fishermen, and friars who refused to surrender to despair. Their story became a testament to the idea that courage and determination can overcome even the most overwhelming odds. The victory at Belgrade, however, was not a permanent solution to the Ottoman threat. Mehmed II would recover and continue to expand his empire, but the psychological blow he suffered at Belgrade slowed his westward momentum. This reprieve allowed European powers time to strengthen their defenses and eventually launch their own counteroffensives, such as the campaigns that would culminate in the Battle of Lepanto more than a century later. Today, the story of Belgrade serves as a reminder of the fragility and resilience of civilizations. It teaches us that even when the odds seem insurmountable, the choices and actions of a few can alter the course of history. It reminds us of the importance of unity in the face of division, of courage in the face of fear, and of hope in the face of despair. Belgrade stands as more than just a battle. It is a symbol of what humanity can achieve when determination, ingenuity, and faith come together. It is a story that continues to inspire, a beacon of resilience in the annals of history. And so, the memory of those 300 knights, the friar who rallied a nation, and the people who refused to bow to tyranny endures, a testament to the power of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. This remarkable moment in history is not just a tale of warriors and weapons. It's a story of unity forged in the crucible of desperation. The diverse defenders of Belgrade knights, friars, peasants, and fishermen transcended their differences to confront a common threat. Their determination bridged gaps of class, language, and creed, proving that even in the darkest hours, cooperation can triumph over division. The courage displayed on the battlefield also inspired a cultural awakening across Europe. Songs, poems, and chronicles immortalized the event, spreading its message of hope and defiance far and wide. For centuries, the Battle of Belgrade became a touchstone for those who faced their own seemingly impossible challenges, a rallying cry for unity and perseverance. The innovations born of necessity during the siege also left their mark. Medieval incendiaries, improvised naval tactics, and the strategic dismounting of knights to fight as infantry showed how adaptability and ingenuity could rewrite the rules of warfare. These lessons shaped not only the battles to come but also the broader understanding of how disciplined preparation could level the playing field against technologically superior foes. But what truly set Belgrade apart was the moral victory it represented. While the physical destruction of the Ottoman siege weapons and forces was critical, the psychological blow dealt to Mehmed II and his army was even more profound. The myth of Ottoman invulnerability crumbled, and with it, the fear that had paralyzed much of Europe. The defenders of Belgrade had proven that tyranny and oppression could be resisted, even against overwhelming odds. Their legacy, though forged in fire and blood, was one of hope, a reminder that even in moments of great peril, ordinary people can rise to extraordinary heights. This legacy was not confined to the battlefield. It echoed in the halls of power, the hearts of poets, and the prayers of the faithful, becoming a symbol of resilience for generations to come. This is the story of the Battle of Belgrade, the battle that changed Europe,